with the questions. How you doing? Tap the unmute button.
This is the most dramatic pause to a reveal. Very excited for him to finally break out. Which, shout out to Fred for also doing the spaces earlier with the EU group. I think that was super cool that he's jumping in and telling people what he's been up to and how he's done things. Because like Ferry said, crazy CV, crazy experience. And he also knows a lot about snacks, apparently. I don't want to go around starting to call him what he told us his nickname is, but I will let him describe it so that way y'all don't think I'm really like sus and just in love with this guy already. But Fred, I hope you oh, I got rugged. Hold on. Let's see if he's back.
Yes, let's
Actually,
go.
I don't know what was going on. I have this like supercomputer that was like going all like potato-y on me. So sorry about that, everyone.
No, you made it.
Yeah.
That was quite an entrance.
Yeah.
Fred.
A little late to the party, but yeah, here I am.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really waste any seconds. This is like really, really important. Every second counts with you. So let's go dig into your past first and foremost. Let's hear how you got to the position where you are now. Give us your history.
Okay, history. Well, once upon a time, 23 years ago. Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, I started animating. I went to VFS, Vancouver Film School, first to learn basically, the trade. Back then, there was not a lot of schools out there teaching this stuff. And then basically almost a year after, I started working in the year 2000, and I've been working pretty steadily since then. I started at a company called Mainframe Entertainment. Some of you might know the shows Reboot and Beast Wars. That's where it was created. And then I started there on a series called Heavy Gear. And then from there, I eventually went to another studio. Back then, even now, you have to travel for work a lot of times. So I moved from Vancouver, which is where I am now, to Toronto to work on another series called Backyardigans, because again, like Vancouver at the time maybe had 3 studios that you could work at. Like, it was almost nothing. And then after that, came back to Vancouver, did some more work, and then eventually I ventured into video games, which was interesting and different. And I worked on a few games. Some of you might know the games I worked on. Probably the first one I worked on that was fairly large was Dead Rising 2, which was done with Capcom. And then I also worked in Germany for 5 years and worked the big game I worked there. Well, there's 2. It was The Line, which is kind of like a military third-person shooter game that was done in Berlin. And then I did another game called Rise, Son of Rome. It was a launch title for, at the time, the Xbox. So the Xbox 360. Can't recall which one it was. But that I did at Crytek, and that was in Frankfurt. And then at any point, I guess, yeah, halfway through my career, I went back to school because I wanted to do feature animation work. And so I went to an online school called Animation Mentor, and there I was exposed to a lot of like high-level artists, many of whom are now close friends of mine, even the teachers. And that's where I started getting exposed to like the high-level quality of feature, which can be exhausting to do, but like yeah, it's very rewarding to see your work on the big screen, especially when you see your name in the credits. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, and then so I've worked on features. I worked on even music video. Terry, you liked it when I told you that I worked on a Kanye West music video. It was Black Skinhead. That was fun, sort of. That was weird though. We can get into that later, but yeah, I don't know if Kanye's listening. So watch out for him, right? Anyway, so I came back. I've been anim directing as well for the past 7 years on a few series work. So after I left games, I helped basically build up the animation department at the 3D animation department at a studio called Atomic Cartoons, and yeah, they've been doing pretty well since. And then my claim to fame there was there's a series we worked on called Beat Bugs, which was it's a children's show. You can watch it on Netflix. It's based on the musical works of the Beatles, and that's where I got nominated for an Emmy. That was kind of weird because I didn't think that was possible for an animator. That was for outstanding main title and graphic design. We didn't win, unfortunately. There's 3 of us that were in that category. We were robbed. we felt like we almost were like a shoo-in, but we still won an Emmy. So that's why if you see a picture of me somewhere holding an Emmy, that was for best writing. But still, it was a fun night, to do there. Yeah, and then the last job I had before Artifact is at a studio called Doberman Pictures back here in Vancouver, and there I worked as an anim director with DreamWorks, and the last thing I worked on there was we were rebooting Megamind. Some of you might know the feature film Megamind, and so that's coming out sometime next year, I think. Yeah. And in between, I mentor as well. Usually once a year, I'm flown out to Denmark to teach at a university there. That's kind of fun. It's like a workcation, so I get to, live there and enjoy, all that this little town has to offer. Is kind of fun. My wife loves it too. So yeah, shout out to my wife Katrina out there. We'll give her some props for sticking with me with all those late nights that we spend working on all this stuff. Yeah, and then now I'm at Artifact, and it's like a dream come true because I'm a huge sneakerhead. I love like street style, fashion wear, collectibles. I have my cause figures, vinyls, Skullcon. What else? And then I have like artwork all over. Like I'm always inspired, even though I'm 23 years in the business. You'll still find me looking for fun, cool art. I'll still be playing with Lego, that's for sure. Lego will be a lifetime addiction for me. Yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up, at least from my history perspective. How does that sound?
Absolutely incredible. I want to dig into like each and every one of these projects that you've worked on, and then
Sure.
Just obviously go through all the details, but we're going to need at least 10 more episodes on that. But I want to invite anybody up to come and speak and ask your questions to Fred, because even though Fred is incredibly kind and he has opened his arms and his DMs to all of you, he's willing to answer anything that you have. It's just so different when you speaking to somebody voice to voice, basically. So
Yeah.
please don't hesitate to come up.
One thing I want to just mention too is like my position is I am specifically like laser focused on animation. So anything to do with the art of moving inanimate objects, bringing characters to life, like creating stories, even editing and camera work and all that stuff. That's like kind of my jam. Anything to do with like rigging or modeling or texturing or shading, I'd love to answer your questions, but that's something our super talented like CG team could possibly do in the future, or I don't know, maybe they could be future speakers. And we can talk about them a little later. But yeah, we got some major talent here who could go on and on and on about why I don't know why granite looks the way it does, or like modeling something like super high end that you'd see in a film like like the most recent Marvel film. One of our modeler, master modeler, Jason Irish worked on that, so you can bug him. He's gonna love it because he's gonna get flooded with DMs now. Yeah. So
Fred,
that's I just wanted to mention that. Cool. Yeah.
I was going to say you were on this point because you obviously been in the industry for a while and you're probably not selling yourself highly enough. I'm sure you could probably do some killer modeling or texturing if you wanted to. But I think that's kind of the question is like, why why did you stick to animating for so long, and what is it that like makes you so passionate about it?
Well, okay, I grew up at the time of like Saturday morning cartoons. Fortunately, many of you might not know about that, or maybe you've heard of it. But back in the day when there was no internet, no YouTube, Saturday mornings was like our time as kids to enjoy our shows like Transformers, and there's some classic like Disney shows like DuckTales and Darkwing Duck. Or yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a GI Joe, all these like old like 80s classics. And since then I've been pretty addicted to like the art of like motion. But it wasn't until I saw there's some of you would probably know the movie RoboCop. There is a robot in there called the Ed 209, and I can remember the specific shot in that movie that like kind of triggered something in me, like I need to do that. And it's a shot of like the Ed 209 basically turning around and then shooting at the camera, but it was done so well in such a way that I was just like, oh my god, that's cool. And so I'm like, whatever that is, that's what I want to do. And then since then, I've basically worked my way into this position where I'm animating. So I've always loved it. And the other thing too is like, even though I've been in the industry 23 years, I'm still hungry to learn. I have a lot of friends at Pixar, DreamWorks, these big studios, and I'm always picking their brain about what's new, what's going on. Like a friend of mine, Michael Makarovich from Pixar. He's not at Pixar anymore, but he's like an anim director there he's almost there for 19 years. We just shoot the shit, talk, and yeah, I've learned a lot from him. And the thing is, like, a lot of people don't get exposed to that sort of level of an artist, and for me, I also want to give back. So like, it's not just like me working and doing all these cool things. Like I want to pass on the torch. Like nothing pleases me more than seeing my junior animators, for example, get promoted or move on out of the studio. It always sucks when someone you work with is really good and you're so happy to see them improve to the point where they're like, oh, now I'm working on Star Wars. And I'm like, oh, that's great, but you're not working with me, and that sucks. But it's a very small industry. Chances are we'll all work again, together again. It's like our CG team. We've all worked together at one point or another. So yeah.
Fred, you also teach as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mentored at VFS, Vancouver Film School, for a bit, basically helping the animators out. Like sometimes I have 4 or 6 artists or students, and I'd help them with their final project. So it's kind of like what you guys and the creators are doing right now with this contest. And so I would basically like listen to what they're planning to do, tell them if it's feasible or not, because a lot of times as you're working on like a new project, you have these really big grand ideas, and sometimes it's like, oh, I don't even know how I'm going to do that. But then you jump in and you're already like, I'm going to animate a dragon. I want a dragon to be in this, and then you don't realize how challenging it is to animate a creature. I'm not saying don't do it, but there are ways to like, if you really need that dragon there, let's think of a way to like make it so you don't have to animate the entire body. Maybe you just animate the head or just like the front of the body, try to make it work within the schedule that you have, because there's always a deadline, especially for a contest, and there's no extending that deadline. So you got to deliver. And so I help the students basically finish their final projects and work with the level that they're at. So if they're really good, I could help them polish it to a feature film level. If they're struggling, then I try to help them basically get to a point where they're able to understand the basics, the very like sort of principles of animation, and then set them up for success after, because they'll have to, like, even as an animator after school, you'll probably still work on your own stuff. So and then when I go to Viborg, this is a small town in Denmark, but there's a big university there, and the school that is called the Animation Workshop. I will go there to specifically teach things like I spent a lot of time studying facial animation. So like at Atomic Cartoons, I worked really closely with our our rigging department in creating a new Lego facial rig, and it's now like the de facto standard, I believe, across all Lego shows. Because I remember hearing that like the company Lego wanted other shows to look as good as ours. So, and then a few of us on our team also worked on that. So that was pretty exciting to do that. And yeah, so I would focus in on the face. You know, there's rules to the way faces are animated. And one thing I'll say with everyone that's worked on your clones, all you creators out there, if you ever want to push your animation, like I would say a little bit further. It's like really a lot further, but it's a little thing that you kind of don't think is important, and that's the eyes. The eyes are super important to animate correctly, even in like feature TV work, episodic, etc. You can get away with not the best facial animation if the eyes are like spot on perfect. Because when we talk to each other, like if you are talking to a colleague, you're going to look at them in the eyes, right? You're not going to be staring at their mouth or at their nose, or maybe I don't know, maybe maybe they have a mole. I have a mole. Will you stare at that? But no, to have a proper conversation, you're going to talk to their eyes, or look at them at the eye, in the eyes, and then if you can get that right, get the eye darts, the blinking correctly, then the rest is all like gravy. So that's something that I could talk about eye animation for hours, for example, and that's what I would actually have a 3 or 4 hour like seminar with the students at that school, talking just about like what it means for a character to look up, or look down, or look left, or look right. There's a reason why we look, for example, to the say if you look up to top left, that means you are thinking about you're visualizing a image in your head, and then there's others that are like if you're looking at to the right. Oh no, sorry, it's the right that is visual memory, and it's to the left is constructed. So that means that like if I tell you to think about that time you played with your pet dog or cat or something, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember. Then you imagine that pet of yours. But if I say, imagine a pink elephant standing on on a ball, then typically look to the top left, and then there's other ones too. I'm not going to go into it, but like if you look bottom left, bottom right, there are other reasons why you do that, and you might not do it now because you're kind of aware of it, but yeah, actually there is one thing I could have you all do. I think I had you do this as well, just again to go with the eyes, and this will get everyone involved. But if you put your finger in front of your head and you move your finger right, or your whole arm right to left, and you have your eyes focus on just the finger, your eyes are going to move nice and smooth. It's basically tracking with the finger, and yeah, it's just a smooth movement. If you take your finger down and you look screen or to the right and to the left, and you try to keep it smooth, you can't. Your eyes are going to lock on something constantly, and those are eye darts. Like your eyes just cannot move smoothly unless it's focused on something, and it's just going to lock on something even for the briefest moment, and then move to another object. And yeah, it's a crazy thing because you don't really know about this. That's why a lot of artists and non-artists even will look at animation. They'll be able to say, it doesn't look that good, or it's something weird about it, but you don't know what it is. And oftentimes it has to do with dead eyes, or eyes looking like wall-eyed. It means like one eye's out of focus, stuff like that. So I try to get the students to focus on that and get them to do a couple quick tests and get them to understand like, the eyes are constantly moving. Make sure they're always alive. Because if they're floaty, it'll take you out of the element, out of the moment. And then I also teach a lot about camera work, because like the best camera animation you'll ever see is the one you never notice. As soon as you notice a camera move, it takes you out of the moment. You want to be immersed, and you should just be a person viewing. And so I make sure the students, when they have camera moves, that there's a reason for it, that characters move in a certain way that gives you a reason why the camera is moving. And that's stuff, like I said, we could probably talk about a lot of the stuff for hours or days even, but if that's something people are interested in, we could definitely talk about it. Especially if I have time later. I have a link that I wanted to share with everyone, and I can talk to you about like certain things that I did in that animation. I think I shared the dragon test. I did like a lip sync test, and Benoit, he shared, I think he shared it, or he mentioned about reaching out to me. And this is how the spaces came to be. But yeah, I could run you through it. It's also like a great this website called Sync Sketch. It's a great way to interact between artists and to receive notes and to look at things. And like that's how I would talk to my students and give them feedback. I would do draw overs. I explain, okay, on frame 1, the eyes should do this. On frame 2, they should be moving a little bit more. Frame 10, they should. This is when you start to blink, etc. Yeah. So that's the teaching part. Sorry, it's a bit a long-winded answer. I went into a bunch of other stuff, but it's all important.
This is what happens when we have these conversations with Fred. They just go in tangents because this dude is so, like, he's got so much knowledge and so much wisdom on every single area. I'm telling you, you need a series just on Fred. But Fred, I was cracking up when you were telling us to move our hands in front of our faces. I can just imagine everybody listening to the space.
But no, it's true, because
the
thing is, like, you can't fake that, right? And so people are going to be like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, it's really simple stuff, but you just never notice it. That's why badly animated films, you look at their eyes and just like, oh my God, it's like looking at zombies. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you look right, it's
it's basically
it's triggering like thinking of like a memory or something. My eyebrows did the thinking face, and then when I looked to the left, I did like a frowning face, like a thinking face.
Yeah, like if you look, if you look down to the left, it's about like your it's feelings. The specific term is kinesthetic construct. There's these very specific terms for it. And if you're looking down to the right, you're talking to yourself. It's internal dialogue. So if your character is like doing nothing and you want them to feel alive, have them look down to the right and just have them eye dart looking at nothing. It's just like they are looking at something, but they're not there. They're thinking in their head about something that they're about to do, or something in that moment.
Honestly, these little stuff is so fascinating, things that we don't even think about. And also, I have to mention, I'm a massive fan of Lego.
Mm-hmm.
Just knowing that you are on the team, and Tristan also, you guys have touched it, even like the tiniest part of the Lego universe is absolutely bizarre to me. So honored to have you both
that was
here,
awesome. That was one of my most recent passion projects that I just really loved doing. Like the first project we got at Atomic that was Lego was a Jurassic Park short. It was like 2 episodes, and then all of a sudden we started getting all the good stuff. We got Marvel Avengers. We got I worked on the Spider-Man Lego show, and then our episode, and then we worked on this first Star Wars that we got, the holiday special, and that was a special moment for me and for the team, because a lot of us were just like, this is awesome. It's Star Wars, right? So that, if you look at my demo reel is pinned to my Twitter page. Now, a lot of that stuff I don't animate. It's hard to do a animation director reel these days, because technically anything you've directed you can claim as yours, but it's not. I want to make sure animators are given the credit that they do. And so we had a super talented team. But I did animate one shot in that series, or in that Star Wars special, and it's the only shot on Planet Hoth of the AT-ATs. I love the AT-ATs, and I told everyone, I'm sorry, but no one's gonna get this but me. So I was super busy, but I still found a way to animate. It was a blast doing that shot. And then working with Tristan. Tristan's our 3D or digital director. He basically, he's the reason why I'm here. A lot of times, especially this industry, it's about who you know, and you have to be talented too, because you can't get a job unless you know what you're doing. But I worked with Tristan, and he was like, "Hey, you interested in coming over to Artifact?" And to be honest, I don't really know the crypto world all that well, so I'm pretty much a noob. That's why I had to have Mars do this cool image for me. Still hoping to get that clone soon. We'll see. But yeah, because of Tristan, I was, asked, do I want to be a part of this? And then I had a chat with Chris, and Chris is all great. And then the first thing I did at Artifact was we did a billboard animation for Times Square in New York. And that was pretty much, after that, that was it. I was like, okay, I'm in. And yeah, here I am. So again, kind of off on a tangent there.
Hey, I didn't know you did the Times Square billboard. That was super
Yeah,
cool. That was the one with the little
the little robot.
it's back in our question mark logo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was like my first sort of exposure to all this. Like I'm a huge sneakerhead too, so I mean, that part was like a no-brainer. It's like, oh, Nike, okay, sure, why not? If I was on camera, like I'm surrounded by sneakers right now. It's kind of crazy. But hey, it's all the inspiration you need. That's why like my desk is a mess, but it's like I call it creative chaos. So I have like Lego and I just got some Pokemon cards from McDonald's. I'm just like, oh, okay. I think I got a shiny too, which is, I think some of you know what that is. Anyway, yeah. That to the question, I just go on and on. It's like I've taken some sort of like funky like pill, and I just super chatty. But it's also like I just want to make sure everyone gets what they need out of these conversations, and try to inspire too and motivate, because you guys are out there listening. You're creating some pretty awesome stuff. I want to help wherever possible.
Fred, you're so cute. I feel like I'm hogging you all to myself, so I'm going to pass
I don't
over to
mind.
Dre. No, it's so selfish. Dre, I didn't see you come up. Hello, how you doing?
Ferry, how are you? I heard you in LA. Heard you guys was hiking. We need to get it in.
We definitely do. I'm a proper LA girl now. I've had my Starbucks and I've had a chicken quesadilla, so I'm an LA girl now.
I didn't know that was the qualifications for LA. My wife says you need to try Alfred's coffee since and that'll make you LA. She heard you talking. She was like, "Man, I love her voice. She sounds so pretty." But anyway, this isn't about you. This is about Frank. Frank was good, man. I just wanted to say thank you for Reboot. I'm with you with the Saturday morning cartoon situation. I grew up with that as well. I remember when Reboot came out, and it was like right around the time that PlayStation 1 came out, and we were changing over from 16-bit graphics to like 32-bit. And Reboot was the animation that was showcasing the power of the future technology, right? We didn't have Tekken or Ridge Racer or any of that stuff before PlayStation 1, and Reboot was a cartoon that just showcased what could be. Um, and I thank you for that, because I really like shaped and helped me imagine as a kid, like, yo, the possibilities are here, right? And then going to Beast Wars. I remember watching that before I would go to school in the 6th grade, and I would be late purposely because I had to watch the whole episode and see what was going on with Optimus Prime and Megatron and all of that stuff. So the things that you've worked on has shaped my childhood, right? And not even that, but I love Megamind. Like my kids love Backyardigans, or my nieces and nephews used to love
Oh,
Backyardigans back in the
Backyardigans,
day.
yeah.
Like
I
they
I still
loved
have
it.
songs
Like
stuck in
them
my
things,
head, and I worked on that in like
man, you
2003.
can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it. It's so infectious. But they loved it. But then I'm a huge Kanye West fan. Black Skinhead. That video was crazy. I've already heard the stories about working with Kanye West on the back end of things, Paul. So I get it. But yeah, man, you've dealt with a lot of the things that have shaped and molded like my childhood, helped the imagination continuously grow as a person and an individual. Like, just thank you for that, man. I don't think you know the impact that animation and those things have had on not only on myself, but I'm sure for hundreds of people, for them to be able to do the same thing like you did when
Hmm.
you saw that Ed 209. Like, yo, I want to work with that in some shape, form, or fashion. And to have it come full circle and be a part of CloneX, that was part of the things that brought me into CloneX. It was no real 3D artwork that had been created in the NFT realm up until they did this. And then they paired up with Takashi Murakami, which was another full circle thing that I learned about Takashi Murakami because of Kanye,
Yeah.
right? So it's like having all of these things come in full circle, and to know that you're a part of the team and helping to steer and direct the rest of this journey. Like I am grateful for you being here. I'm grateful for your work. I'm grateful for your tributes just to all of these things that you've done. Thank you, man. And I'm so excited that you're here.
Oh, you're too kind. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that work on all this stuff too. I'm just like in a lot of those shows, you're just like this cog in a big machine, you know. And same goes for what we're doing here. Like I specialize in animation. We got two guys, Travis and Liviu, who are like masters in shading and texturing. I mentioned Jason already, is our like awesome modeler. We got a regular Mark, who I've worked with a long time. And some of you have seen that there is a new clone out there. I can't talk about it really that much, other than I'm excited to get, you know, I'm excited for what's to come. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get in trouble, but just trust that, you know, all of us on the team with all of our collective, I think all of us have over, if we combined all of our experience, we have over 100 years of experience combined. It's pretty awesome and sad too, because I feel like if I'm 80, am I going to still play with Lego and laugh when I fart, you know, like this weird stuff? I still feel like I'm internally a child, you know. But yeah, there's all this experience, and we want to put it into what, you know, is to come. So right now, like I know a lot of people talked about how challenging it is to work with the old clone, and trust me, I feel that pain. That those fingers drive me absolutely insane. So for all of you that might have complained about it or had trouble with it, trust me, it's all warranted. But in the future, you guys are gonna there's some good stuff coming. I think I dropped everyone's name I wanted to. Yeah, but our CGT, I really hope we get them out here, because, you know, we're kind of like, so like we're the people in the background behind the curtain, you know, and it's nice when you can, you know, talk to us. We're all human, and we're all very forward in wanting to help and create some good stuff for you guys. So again, another long-winded answer.
I can't believe you said laugh and fart.
No, but it's true.
So-
It's I'm not gonna. I also often don't have a filter, so like, you know, I love a good, you know, toot joke. But yeah, it's like also with food. Someone knows I'm. It was mentioned. Oh yeah, okay. My nickname. Yes, my name's Popo Schlitz. That's one of my two nicknames that was given to me. It was in Germany. They gave me that. I'm not going to tell you what it means. You have to search for it. But it's what a child would say about something, like a young kid. But the other nickname was Snack Daddy. It was given to me when I worked at Sony Pictures ImageWorks, or as we like to call it, Spimageworks. And I'm notorious for bringing snacks into the studio. And you know, I like to, sometimes a happy artist is when they've had something, you know, nice to eat. So often I'll bring like something really good. Like I remember when I brought cronuts for the first time into the studio, everyone's just like, what the fuck is this? Oh my God. Mind blown, you know. And then there are other times where I might bring in some funky potato chips and be like, okay, what do you guys think of this? And it's something like chicken and waffles. And, you know, everyone's like, oh yeah, that's good. And then there's one that was maple syrup, and like, oh no, this is disgusting. You know, potato chips should not be sweet. Yeah.
Okay, now I need top 5 snacks.
Top 5 snacks
for work.
Oh my God. Okay, so I lived in Germany for, you know, over 5 years. Their snack game is pretty awesome. Like in Europe in general, it's pretty awesome. So for me, I guess it depends on what mood I'm in. So I'm not gonna give you top 5. I'm gonna give you like sort of like my top 5 or my top 1 in 5 groups. How about that? So like chocolate, for example, you know, I'm a huge fan of Cadbury, so you'll like this, but it has to be from the UK. It is vital that it's from the UK, because everything else pales in comparison. The Cadbury you get here in North America, it's not the same. And I'm sure some people be like, it tastes like chocolate. No, there's more to it. And then let's see, Germany, I love my gummy bears. Haribo. Haribo.
No, Fred. You mean
No. Okay.
Haribo?
Whoever. There's all these ways of pronouncing things. So Haribo is how you say it in German, and it's very specific why you say it like that, because the catchphrase is Haribo macht Kinder froh und Erwachsene ebenso, and it basically means gummy bears or Haribo is for kids but also for adults. It's kind of the rhyme behind it, and so it is Haribo, but you can call it whatever you want. I'm not gonna. It's like the classic battle between GIF and GIF, and for the record, it's GIF. So let's see how this battle goes. Yeah. Okay, so that's 2, 3. I like. There's a in Denmark. They have so licorice. A lot of you might not like licorice, but there's fake licorice, which is like Twizzlers black licorice, which is garbage. And then you have this really nice Danish stuff, which is like covered in a chocolate coating and then a hard shell, kind of like an M&M or Smarties, and then has like this really distinct flavor, and it's really really good. There's that. It's called if you're wondering what brand it is, Lakrids, Lakrids, by Bulo, but this is just Bulow. Okay, so that's 3. Let's go back to North America then. There's one more in Denmark that I like. It's a Danish hot dog. Some of you might know about this, some of you might not, but like, so our hot dogs here are great in North America, but in Denmark, they figured out a way to like basically make a hot dog, deliver the hot dog without having it spill all over. It's called a Franz hot dog, and basically they drill a hole into this bun, and then it's kind of weird, but they'll put the condiments inside and then put the wiener inside, and then you just chow down. It's great, but you have to look it online. What else? And then I don't know. There's always something that I'm looking around at my desk to see what else is like in my face.
Fred, do you have a snack drawer?
I do. It's right now because it's Christmas time. I'm fully stocked up on all the German Christmas goodies, so like gingerbread, like almonds, candy. There's this like type of almond from Germany called gebrannte Mandeln, which is like this sugar coated almond, and then it's flavored with like usually like cinnamon or some other flavors. Like in Germany in the Christmas markets, they have like amaretto flavored, like alcohol flavored ones too. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think the fifth one is just like I like everything. Yeah, it's hard. I can't choose. I just love food in general. You'll find me at McDonald's, but I've also eaten at the best restaurant in the world in Denmark. So I like the extremes on both ends.
There you go, guys. You got all the snack alpha. You don't need anything else. We also have Johnny up on stage. Hey, Johnny, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me up, man. I agree with you on the UK chocolate for sure, man. Smarties, Penguins. I actually just got a shipment in from the UK about 2 days ago. So feel you. So, but yeah, man, I'm just a fan. Just wanted to come up. I try to come up whenever creators spaces come on, but yeah, just a fan. Been looking at your work for a long time and just wanted to give you your flowers, or flowers is due.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of a lot of what everyone's doing here, what you're doing as well. Like, there's like for a lot of you who are just getting into it, and also like I've read some of your stories, how you literally you never touched a 3D program at all, and what's coming out of your guys' computer is just like, wow, that's pretty impressive actually. And part of why we're also here is we want to give you all some guidance too. It's not us telling you what to do. It's more like, hey, do you want to make it a little bit better? All you have to do is this. There's always like these little things, like we always say, like at least in animation, a shot's never done until it's gone to print. That's like a feature film saying, and it's literally taken away from you because there's always something you can animate, like. And sometimes you just forget. Like I know a animation mistake from my buddy on Ratatouille, and I'll save that for another time. But yeah, they live like they missed something, and then they'll never be able to look at that beautiful piece of animation again because all they see is that one thing that they didn't animate, and you'd be like, "What, really?" Oh, actually, I'll tell you. So it's at the end of the film where Ego eats the food, eats the ratatouille, and then there's it's like this big flashback scene, and then what's the other guy's name? He's that little guy, the true villain of the show. I can't remember his name now. Brain farting on that. Oh, there's another fart. That guy. Anyway, he takes a bite of the ratatouille and he cringes because it's so good, and he grabs the tablecloth, and then everything on the table moves. The food has a jiggle. The cutlery moves. The one thing that doesn't move, and it was rigged to move, was inside a glass. There was wine, and the top of the wine, like he realized that wasn't animated. So when you look at it, you'll see that the wine in the glass doesn't move. The glass moves, but the wine doesn't. And to this day, it has ruined that shot for him. So. Well, not ruined, but it's just something that he.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, I know. All we see artists as artists are our mistakes. But yeah, like when I look at my work, I cringe every time. So I'm just like, oh, I wish I had more time.
Fred, let's talk about some of your work, though. All right, go ahead, Johnny. I'll let you go.
No, I think that's like one of the biggest that like haven't dove into yet. I mean, obviously, you have to kind of learn the thing before you like dive in first. But I think seeing Ali, seeing Jay Marino's work, seeing a lot of animators, seeing Cass's progression, just seeing a lot of the animators, and again the work that you guys come from. It's like I think that's going to be obviously my next jump going into the next couple of years, and just knowing that you guys are here to answer any questions. I'm really looking forward to I mean, the learning curve is going to be...
Well, we do baby steps too, right? I'm not going to throw you in the deep end. It's just like, let's take a look at what you're doing, and then let's kind of start from, let's start here,
I mean, even just with my last render doing like the shoes and shit, just simple like eye blinking or like wing movements and stuff like that. Like, I don't really know anything about rigging. It's more just kind of taking the assets you guys have given me and kind of just breaking them down, and just the basic stuff that you can get from YouTube in your spare time, obviously, because I got a job myself. But it's, I mean, just these simple things to start. But yeah, seeing again the animators and just the more and more talent that are arising, I think it's just been this progression over the last like year and a half, 2 years of people jumping in, and now there's more animators kind of coming out of the woodwork like yourself, because I kind of got turned on to you probably a couple months ago, but just being a fan of your work, kind of diving in and just seeing what your resume holds is insane.
Yeah, and you know what, like thank you again for those kind words, but yeah, like I guess I don't know, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this journey, but like everyone has a job typically, and then you're doing this on the side, and that's what I did when I was trying to get into feature as well. Like I actually was working at Capcom. At the time it was called Blue Castle Games, but I was working on Dead Rising 2 as I was also going to school. So I was doing like 80 hours, 40-hour work hours, or 40-hour work days, and then another 40 plus hours of just pure animation working after hours. Like, so I know what you guys are going through. So it's really like a lot of passion that goes into it. But yeah, I'm free to chat. Just hit me up. I mean, I have to make sure I have the time, so I can't answer all the time as quickly as I like. But yeah, for sure. Like if you guys are like excited to learn more, that's something that, like, again, if you guys want to see something specific, I can show you. Like that dragon piece I have up. I have something set up right now if we want to take a look at it. I don't know if we have that time. Fairy Cass, is that? Do we want to keep answering more questions, or do you want me to touch on this? I think.
Oh yeah, we can definitely do that. Okay. If you guys have access to a PC or a laptop, this is gonna be the best for you. If you can, Fred, just drop it in the comments under this spaces.
Yeah, I just did, I think.
And then we can. Oh, nice. Okay, I'll pin it to the top, and then
everyone should be able to see this. I think it's also viewable on your phones. I won't go into it in too much detail. I hope everyone can see it. But basically, if you are clicking on that link, you should see a dragon, and you should be seeing the dragon move now. Like if it's playing a little bit It should be that should be correct because it's me scrubbing the timeline.
Guys, when you go onto the website, just
Yeah,
join as a guest. You don't need to log in or anything.
exactly. Yeah. So I see Max is there. Like I'm presenting. Hopefully, oh, I see Harry's there. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, by the way, I pinned it up to the top for people if you're trying to find the
Okay.
link.
Oh, good. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So for anyone that ends up wanting like a review of anything from me, like, and this is I double checked with the team, and if you wanted some feedback on your contest piece, I can definitely take a look. I was told this is all right. Anyway, so, and this is the software I would use to give you notes or talk about like the animation. And so for those that aren't here, basically there's a website called Sync Sketch, and you're able to easily drop in video clips and be able to basically in real time view the work. So if I press play right now, you can hear everything is moving and playing at real time. And that's important in animation because time is everything. And so I would go in here and I would explain, like, I'm going to turn off the audio so it's not too annoying. When I'm scrubbing the time, when I say scrubbing the timeline, I don't know if anyone here knows that term. Is basically there's a slider for playing, and the animation term is called scrubbing, because you're basically moving your mouse left and right, like a scrubbing motion. But like, for example, here, and I will zoom in on your work too. Like, you cannot hide anything from me. I will almost go right to the pixel if I need to, because you never know if your work's going to be shown on a big screen. And if it is, that little tiny little thing is going to look like 2 feet wide on a massive screen, right? so like here, I'm looking at the eyes, and before his head turns, his eyes will move, and then as he's doing that, he blinks. There's like a great moment for transition where a character is looking in one direction and goes to another, and if it turns enough, you add a blink, and it's like a nice reset. See, now he's looking at you, right? So this feels a lot more natural. And so that's what I mean by like eye animation and like blinking. There's like good time for adding these things to help. Again, if stuff isn't working, you have these little sort of polished areas like that, those eyes, you'll be able to, basically take the direction away from something that you might not be happy with, and yeah, and then you might be able to get away with it. So, but I would basically look at stuff like this. I would actually even do drawovers. So I didn't get my tablet ready in time, but I would actually I could be able to do drawovers about like the let's see, like tongue, for example. I have the tongue coming up here. Tongue is important, but like, for example, the tongue comes up here, and because he's saying, is it S? Oh no, it's the R. Yeah. So it has to come up, but I might say like, hey, hold that tongue up a bit more. So I'll actually give you a draw over of the tongue like this. And then when you play it in real time, you can actually, it feels weird, but it actually will work. And then, yeah. So this is how I would give feedback and go over the animation step by step. Even showing you a little like this throat little jiggle here. That's stuff that I would talk to you about. I could give you tips about how to animate stuff like that, because it looks really complicated, but it's really not. It's basically, I steal a lot of animation from different parts. So like if I animate the jaw, I will actually steal the rotation rotation curve from that and apply it to maybe say the translation of the throat, so that it comes out a little, because the timing's perfect, right? I just need to then offset it a little bit, and then that's how you get like this. The throat, you see how it all kind of offsets. You see it's here, then it's here, then it's here, then it's here, right? And it's those little things that we call that secondary motion or secondary movement. So it helps just again give realism to what you're animating. That's all I want to touch on here because I don't want to take up too much time. I can talk about this stuff for, like I said, for hours. So you can go back to, I mean, if you want to go look at it yourself, I've stopped presenting and you can do whatever you want. But
No, this is so
yeah,
cool, Fred. I think it would be really cool if we could organize a session where people can submit their animations
yeah,
to us, and then we can just go through them and give some feedback
exactly.
if you're down for it, and maybe even some artifact stuff if we can get
Yeah,
some permission
exactly.
from the big
And, and
boys.
and and showing your work this way. This is also what we call in the feature world dailies. So we'd have dailies. Usually would be like every morning or sometimes in the afternoon. We call them afternoonsies. But yeah, we do dailies, and that's basically you're looking at your work. We always tell our artists show early, show often, because the last thing you want to do is spend 3 days on some work and then your director tells you that's not what I wanted, and then you have to start from scratch. Whereas if you blocked out the animation really quickly, like this is kind of what I have an idea. It's like an idea pass. It's like this is what I'm gonna do. What do you think? And then the director would be like, oh yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. If you do this and this, then let's go with it, and then you're allowed to go move forward with the animation. Yeah. Oh, and another thing important, like whenever I give feedback to anyone, it's not personal. I hope no one ever takes it personally. It's always just like, to help. If again, you have to be receptive to that feedback, and sometimes it's harsh, but I'm giving the feedback from a place of like, I know what I'm saying will help, and you might not appreciate it now, but you might appreciate it after. And I remember once when I was teaching this one student, his Italian artist, his name was Francesco. And yes, I did put my hand up and did that like sort of like Mamma Mia, that typical Italian motion, because Italians like to talk with their hands. But he was hard to deal with, and I had to be pretty stern with him. And he kept asking why, and I was like, I explained, but then he kept asking again, like, just do it, and then let's talk and let me know. And then he just did it. He was a bit frustrated. And then he came back and said, "Oh my God, you're right," and then after that, he came up to me and he wrote me an email later, just like, "You're my favorite teacher," blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna hate me," but no, yeah, and so please, that's kind of the sort of relationship I want to have with everyone here. It's like, hey, I want to help you get your work, to a point. Not everyone's going to be able to do, Pixar quality work, but you can get there. It's not impossible. Like I could not get a job right now with my old demo reel from the 2000s. That's for sure. Like you guys are so lucky to have access to these tools, these assets. Like back in the day, I had to build everything by myself, and that sucked. But now it's like, hey, I'll just go to this website, buy some rigs, and go to town. Or in this case, you got your clone.
Yeah, we're not just lucky to have access to the tools and the assets. We're lucky that we have access to you, professionals who have many, many years of experience, and you're right there. We can ask you anything. So it would be silly to not take advantage of this opportunity. Guys, get in those DMs, just bug these people, ping them all day, every day, and get to those levels, I guess. Fred, I had a
Yeah.
question regarding you've done loads of different projects, from like films, episodic series, video games, music videos, all of that stuff, and you've worked in many different capacities. You've had different
Yeah.
roles. What I'm quite naive to think that an animator is just an animator. Obviously, now I'm more aware of the different roles that exist. But for somebody who's not really aware of what that world entails, can you kind of like break down each role that you get into in that industry?
Yeah. So I mean, the roles are quite extensive. Like, small shops will have what they call generalists, who kind of they kind of know a little bit about everything. So, but then they might not be a master at any of those things, right? And so, in that case, like those are great places to start. But eventually, if you want to like start building your portfolio, you really should try to focus on one thing, because that's where you'll start to get more opportunities in the industry. So if you're to get into animation, I'll talk about the process of like creating something. So you have the initial script. So you have script writers, and when I worked on like Backyardigans, for example, each episode was focused on a song. So you think about the song, and then how that translates to the story and to the character and the arc of the character. Like they start here, they're down, and then at the end, are they happy? What is it what is their, what is going on? What's their adventure like? And that's something everyone should also just take note of, because like even though your shorts are really really short, or maybe it's just 3 shots, you should always think about where is your character from, what are they doing, where are they going, what have they gone through. Think about their history. And you might think like, oh, why do I need to think about that? It's like, well, it affects the animation and the character and the delivery, right? If your character is old, weathered, they're going to probably move a lot differently. Like you have a hunchback, maybe they'll walk a little slowly, or maybe you have a character who is like got a lot of anxiety, so maybe they're constantly fidgeting. You want to make sure these things are thought about. So it's always important to like think about it. It's like reference. So, but anyway, sorry. Back to the script. You have the script. You read through it. You start breaking it down. You have people who are coordinators who will break down the script for you and try to localize like what assets need to be created. Once they figure out what the assets are, then it'll go to like our art department. So modelers would start modeling it. At the same time, we have storyboard artists that would start to storyboard that episode along with the director. Once the model's been modeled, it goes then to a shading artist. So like, yeah, in this case, we would have Tristan would give us the task. Jason, our modeler, would model it. Then the texturing part, that would go to the texture artist. In this case, it'd be like Liviu or Travis. And at the same time, while the textures are being done, you have rigging as well happening. And once the rig's done, and then this is early on. This is before we're actually like in full production. This is a lot of stuff. The stuff we often do in what we call pre-production. And anyway, so we get the rig going. Early on, we'll have to define a rig for the characters, and because by the time we get to animation, we need to make sure we have like walk cycles ready. This is something I want to talk about later, and it's an animation library that I believe there's something like that in the tools for Blender, but yeah, we can talk about that another time. But anyway, so yeah, you have the rig being worked on. Then usually it's the anim lead or a supervisor or director will help the rig development, because we have to figure out how we want the characters to perform. And then once that's done, once the rig is done, you check, you do some renders to see how the deformations look, and ideally you'd have an opportunity to do like a little short and see how the final renders look. And then for the episode, when it goes into animation, you'll have that final storyboard. And then you would basically get assigned your shots. And typically I would assign it based on the artist's strengths. And I would figure out like, okay, this person's good at acting. This person's good at action. Eventually later in the production, they might tell me they want to try the opposite. And then that's where I'm like, are you ready for it? We want to make sure they can deliver, but at the same time, we want to help them grow as an artist. So I'll definitely give them like a few shots here and there. And then, yeah, it'll basically the animation starts off with layout. Layout is basically, well, actually, you first have an animatic. So the storyboards get cut together in an editing software. Then it goes to animation. You have the animatic, which is that storyboard video. You take that as reference for the layout animation, which is like a basic sort of the movement or positioning. It's basically for cameras and position of the character in that layout pass. Then from there, it goes to the animation team. Sometimes layout and animation are done by the same artists, but in bigger studios, especially in feature, you get that given to you. So you just focus on the animation. Then you animate it. You start by blocking out like the main motions, and then you start to continue to refine. It's like sculpting. You start with a block, you start to build out the main form, and then you start to chisel away at it. and then until you get that finished product. And once the animation is done, then it goes to there's a fix department. So if there needs to be cloth animation or hair simulations or something like that, that'll be handled by another team. And those fix artists will make sure that things aren't crashing. Sometimes it goes back to the animator to fix, but usually they'll tweak it to make sure it works. And then it goes to lighting. And again, Travis and Tristan also goes into that as well, and Liviu, and they'll help out on that internally here. Once the lighting's done, then it's basically composited together. So we have to like color grade it, make it look pretty, add a few, things here and there, different colors, whatever. I don't know anything about that world, so you have to talk to those guys about it. And then the final image is like what you see on our Instagram and Twitter when it's released, or YouTube. And then in the episodic world, that's the episodes that's done. Eventually, there's sometimes fixes, but those will come very late. It depends on the person you're working with. But yeah, does that clear up the process?
Absolutely. I'm actually gobsmacked. I had no idea how difficult it is, how many people it involves. It is a lot of work. And, we were talking in our meeting about how long it takes to animate like 5 seconds. Yeah. Can you actually go into that a little bit for everybody listening?
Okay, so it all depends on what you're working on. Back in the day, we on television episodic, you'd be doing 25 seconds of animation a week, and sometimes it goes as high as 45 seconds a week, and those jobs suck because that was a lot of work to do. When you get into feature, you typically it depends on the shot, but like at Pixar, your average animation is like 2 seconds to 5 seconds maybe of animation a week. When I worked at Sony, there's a shot that I worked on for 5 weeks, and it was less than 2 seconds long. But it's because there's 13 characters in there. That was Smurfs 2. I had to animate 13 Smurfs, and the note from the director was like they all have to feel like their name. So if Brainy Smurf is there, I have less than 2 seconds to show that he's Brainy Smurf. So like, how do you do that? And that was a really sucky shot. I was glad to be done with it when I worked on that. But it like, especially in visual effects, it's even harder. And when I say visual effects, I'm talking about like Transformers, Avengers, Marvel films. Those typically take even longer. Like I know people that work 6 months on one shot, and those are like the really big shots, like when you see in the Avengers, everyone's fighting together. There's a lot of like digi-doubles, and they need to be animated. That it could take that long, literally. And then in full-length CG feature, which is what Pixar and DreamWorks does, it's typically about 2 to 5 seconds. It could be longer. It depends on how complex the rigs are. Because like our rigs, I think, I don't know how many controls the rig that you have right now for your current clones, it's quite minimal. But as you get into more feature film rigs, you get exposed to more controls. So suddenly you have hundreds of controls. And then at Pixar, you have thousands of controls. It just keeps refining further and further and further. So, it takes time. It's a labor of love, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. This is why you need to be fully passionate about what you're doing, because you're staring at the same scene over and over again and perfecting it. One thing I want
to say about that too is like, you are looking at it for a long time, but I told this trick at the previous spaces, but if you get tired of looking at your shot, just take that shot and flip it horizontally. So instead of your character saying it was going left to right, it's going right to left. It'll feel familiar, but it also feel weird because it's like it's your shot, but it's totally different. And then suddenly you'll see all these things that are like, oh my god, that does look weird. Oh, why did I see that before? Because you're kind of blind to that shot you're working with because you've been looking at it for so long. You flip it, still the same shot. You don't do anything extra, but then you're noticing other things. And it's basically that refreshes your eye to your animation. And I guarantee you do that, it'll help a ton.
Yeah, that was a great tip. Very, very good tip. I think it blew Cass's mind. But also wanted to ask you, out of all of the things that you haven't worked on, all the animations that exist in this crazy world, what is some of your favorites?
We mean that like my favorite things I have or haven't worked on.
You haven't
I love
worked on.
stop motion. I have never gotten into stop motion. It's a brutal, brutal media because with computers you can animate, you can delete stuff, you can go back and fix things in between. When it comes to stop motion, you have one shot. You can kind of do like a little adjustments, but you can't really do that much. And it's basically start to finish. You move a character a little bit, take a picture. Move it a little bit more, take a picture. But that's what got me into the industry. Like I love the old school stop motion animation from Star Wars on that the chess set. I can't remember the exact name for it. You have RoboCop 2. Those I love robots. I'm obsessed with robots. And that's why like the robot or the robot dunk that the Vile stuff that we did. I worked on all those, but the robot was the most fun I had. The what do you call it? Mod 3. Anyway, I loved animate. I wanted to animate like a Transformer, and that's that feeling that I got out of it. So yeah, basically, and I never got to work on a Transformers film. I wish I had the chance to work on that. I love it. But at the same time, you work on a film, you'll never be sort of surprised about the film. You never be able to watch the film with like completely like with how do you say like unbeknownst to the story or anything. Like you can't go in clean. You go in and you're like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. And so that's a part about feature that especially if you work again on series work like Mandalorian. I know a lot of friends that work on Mandalorian, and it would be awesome to work on it. But then you can't watch an episode and be like, oh my god, blew my mind. It's like, yeah, I know. And it maybe blew their mind when they read the script, when they saw a few early tests, but like it kind of loses that sort of like effect. So yeah, Transformers, I wish I had worked on that. Although I could tell you stories about Michael Bay. Maybe not. I don't want him coming after me either. What else? I haven't worked at there's like a number of studios I haven't worked at, but I don't really feel the need to work at these studios anymore. Back in the day, I was like, oh, I really wanted to work here, work there, and I never worked at Pixar, but I came really close. I told you in the previous meeting how I apply. And this is another thing: when you're ready to apply at studios, don't like doubt yourself. Just try. The worst they could say is no. I had a lot of friends that worked at Pixar. Pixar was in Canada at the time, and they were doing a lot of the shorts work, and they're being prepped for doing a lot more of the larger, hopefully helping out on features down in their main location in Emeryville. And I applied. I had some friends that worked there, and I applied, and I got a rejection email. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But then I got another email immediately after, and it was their head recruiter apologizing, saying, actually, no. It was the studio head saw my work, really, liked what he saw, but they were looking someone specifically that was like more of a senior artist, and I was kind of just getting into feature at the time, and I was just like, what? And like, yeah, like, and they basically said, we want to keep in touch. Show us any more work that you have coming in. As soon as we have an opening, we'll let you know. And I keep that email and remind myself, like, it's always possible. I felt like I was a shit animator back in the early days, and it's like, oh my god, this actually could happen. But it didn't, because Disney shut down Pixar Canada. So insert, crying, anime tears. Yeah, I know. So I wish I had the chance to work there, but it's okay. I have a lot of friends that are there. I visit. I get my kicks when I just hang out at the campus, and but and then the job I'm at right now, I didn't think was possible. If I had known that this was a possibility, working at a sneaker company creating this kind of work, that would be literally my dream job. Not to act like I'm drunk on the Kool-Aid, but literally, like, this is this is it for me. So other than that, I can't think of anything else I'd really want to work on. Yeah.
No, perfectly answered, to be honest. I was going to get to your dream job next. Even though I knew the
Yeah.
answer anyway, I just like hearing people say it. Oh, I just
Yeah,
love Earth.
I mean, I love good, nice clothes. You know, I love the art that we're doing, the sneakers. You know, the founders. I work closely with Chris, but also with Benoit and Z and Toby, and it's literally like a dream job. You know, I got to do the helmet work on Phil Knight for that the ducks thing that we did. You know, it's like, you know, and he probably saw that work and was just like, oh, this is crazy, you know, and yeah, it's just like, and for my industry background to find myself here, I didn't think it was possible. So it's like, yeah, I don't know anything about crypto, you know, I'm learning. So for me, being able to be relied on specifically for my animation is like a dream. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at all my sneakers and I'm thinking, oh, this is like a really good. This is going to be my retirement job. I'm going to need more space because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a ton more sneakers to add to my collection.
Speaking of sneakers, what do you think of the recent Nike animation, that reel that was put out for the
Oh
awards?
yeah, so that one was done basically with a vendor. So there's a lot of stuff that we can't work on that our team is just like, we're swamped with other things like other projects. I don't know if we're I don't want to say anything, but you probably heard about the projects, you know, that are happening behind the scenes. We're probably doing something with them. I don't know. But yeah, we're very, very busy. And so I would have loved to have like worked on that, but that's from a studio called ABC. They're really great. We worked with them on the AF1 collection, and on that, like, I provided a lot of feedback to, you know, make sure that it's, you know, the way we're hoping it will look. And in this case, yeah, that the void animation, that was very cool. There's a lot going on there, and but it was lit and rendered in a way that your eyes are focused on what you need to look at, and yeah, it turned out really good. If anything, it should, especially after Nike retweeted it and shared it. It's exciting to see more people are going to be exposed to, you know, Artifact and what we're doing, and that gives you guys more exposure because suddenly, you know, your stuff is going to be more in the forefront. So it's like a nice domino effect. Yeah, yeah, it was a good video. I liked it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot, do you? We have Hondro up on stage. Hondro probably heard you talk about The Mandalorian and he started getting fangirlish. So, hey Hondro, how's it going?
Good. I'm joining for the first time ever from PC, so hopefully this works and isn't rugging. Can you guys actually hear me?
Dude, you sound crispy. I like it.
I just wanted to come up because I've been listening to the whole thing, and I want everyone to know that, like, Fred is an amazing artist, but he's also like the nicest person ever. He actually helped me get my first ever pair of Nike Dunks, which were like the Volt colorway that dropped a few months back. And, you know, Lime Gang had to get some Lime Gang shoes. So without that man, I would have taken my 356th L on sneakers in a row. But he was able to get me an alternate site that allowed me to win those shoes. But it's amazing to work with Fred and all the other artists we have on staff. Like, it's crazy working for Artifact because, like, I never thought I'd get to do half of the stuff that I get to do on a daily basis. And, like, Fred's worked on, like, literally, like, something that both of my kids have been obsessed with, like, at multiple times in their lives. So, like, when I tell people I work... Like, when I tell my kids I get to, like, work with, like, the people that worked on these shows they watch, they're just like, yeah, shut up, Dad. No, you don't. And so it's pretty cool, you know, being that cool dad who knows the people that worked on the shows they love. So everyone needs to give this man his flowers and follow him and give him all
Stop
the love.
it. No, you're too kind. You're pretty awesome too, man. Yeah, it's kind of you to say. And if you are a hardcore fan of Mandalorian, you know, maybe I can talk to my friend to get you some, like, staff swag. You pretend you're from the visual effects team. It's another perk of the industry. Is like, some of that stuff is really cool. You may not have worked on it, but hey, you can still flex that. Like, you know what?
I mean, I'm not gonna say no to that. I am a huge Star Wars fan, so I will never say no to Star Wars
All right,
stuff.
duly noted.
You're welcome, Hondra. We also have later on, I'm not sure, maybe Brongis, you can come up and let us know. Or Fred, when is your spaces with the
European, yeah, that's
European?
tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't, I think it's what, 4 or 5 in Europe. Actually, I don't even know where you are, Brongis.
I think Brongis is in
Oh, Italy.
Italy. It's at 8 a.m. on the 18th.
Okay. Oh, Italy, cool.
PT.
Actually, for one of my students, I couldn't explain to them an animation term, so I had to learn these words in Italian, and it was largo or lango, no, largo and stretto is like wide or narrow, I think is the term. You could, I'm butchering it probably, but it's funny that I remember these little things. It's like, and then also they're like, oh, that's what you mean. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of international
Well,
people.
here's the man
Yeah. But I'm
himself.
looking forward to that chat. It'll probably, I don't know what it'll entail, but like, I'm usually, comfortable, shooting the shit on the fly. So, yeah, that'll be fun.
Hell yeah. Brongis, how you
Brongis.
doing?
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
perfect. Because I think I'm rugging a bit, but anyway, it's 5 p.m. In European
Ah,
time because I'm in Italy. Yes, and I heard that Fred, you were talking about some Italian, and
yeah.
I felt for real what you were saying about us because it's totally true.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's important, like with international artists, like, not everyone speaks English 100% fluently. Like you guys, I guarantee you probably speak better English than a lot of us do. But yeah, it's important. Like if I need to explain something, I will find a way to explain it. And if I can't, I will ask someone else to help me. Yeah, you'll always get an answer, if not immediately, a little bit later. Uh,
Thank you so
yeah.
much because this, I think, is the best part of being a community. Because I mean, as Ferre were saying, it's the best thing that we can
Hmm.
have from a community, having the pro that are talking with us and giving us
Hmm.
advices, things, explaining all the process that is behind the scene because I think it's really hard. I mean, when you have to start, you don't know
Yeah.
nothing. So if you have someone that say, okay, do this, do that, try to search something about this, or just a tutorial about
Hmm.
this, you learn, study, and then you become better and so on. So having a guide, it's always super useful and a huge utility in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm happy to, be that person and help out where I can. Like I said, if I don't know it, there's a chance that someone on our team will. And yeah, no, I'm looking forward to our chat.
yeah, I can't wait because today I wasn't here all the time because I had some troubles in my
Hmm.
fam, so I had to do some stuff. But tomorrow I will be super happy and super proud to have you on stage with us to
Hmm.
speak with you and to know more things.
Yeah, no, sounds great.
I'm working. I'm working on
Hmm.
something, some animation, because I had the commission yesterday, and I'm so
Well,
proud of
congrats.
this. Because I'm a doctor in real life, so a completely different field, as I always
Yeah.
say. So for me, it's something that it's I don't know, unreal. Because I don't know if you told me like 5 or 6 months ago about 3D or some animation stuff or something, would be something that I could never think
Hmm.
about. And now I'm taking commission, it's nothing big,
Oh, it's still
but
something.
it's something.
Yeah.
It's
And
yeah,
you're not the
yeah.
first doctor I know of that has gotten into the industry, because I know of another who found his way to Pixar, and I remember we had a conversation with him, and he said that he found animation or the world of like 3D to be more difficult than this doctor work. I'm like, I don't know, that sounds crazy to me, but yeah, it just goes to show you though. Again, there's never a time where you can't get into this stuff. So yeah,
Totally, totally. It's so true. I couldn't think that this is true, but it's true for real. And yeah, can be more difficult. Also for me, it's like this. I mean, I don't know if it's because I always did medicine, so it's my life, So maybe now it's easier. So maybe it's for this. I don't know. But 3D, it's really, really hard for real. But it's
yeah. At
cool.
some point,
Cool.
though, like you keep at it, and something will click. Like it'll just be like second nature if you keep at it. It's kind of like when you learn a language. You got to really immerse yourself in it, and but there's going to be a moment where it's like, oh, okay, like a eureka moment. That light bulb just went off, or went on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I felt this when you learn
Mhm.
something, it's just, or I don't know, when you do something for the first time and then the second time you say, oh, okay, so it's like this, it's so easy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's totally true.
Well, guys, we've gone way over the 1 hour mark. I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of everybody who's listening.
Mhm.
Fred, thank you so much for giving us your time and all of this knowledge. Do you want to leave us with a little bit of
A little bit
spice?
of
Do you have
spice.
anything for us?
I mean, trying to think of what would Harlan say.
No, I don't want you to
No,
get in
but
trouble.
like so if you play that Fortnite the episode, or no, the game, that level. So I'm that noob that Harlan spoke about in Cass. I was lurking on the conversation with Bad Takes yesterday, and I heard you talk about me, and I want to say thank you for the kind words. But I was like, I don't know the community all that well, so I've been lurking a lot, just trying to listen in to hear what you guys are like going for, what you're after. Can't speak your lingo all that well. This old man here is a little bit slow. Someone has to explain to me what alpha means. That would be nice. And like, yeah. But yeah, it was with the Fortnite stuff. We worked really hard on it, and there's some good Easter eggs there. So take a look. Some of it's already been mentioned online, like the new clone. Take a good look at it when you get a chance. And all I could say is that like all the knowledge that we have on our team is going to go into this new clone, and I think you'll all be very excited about it. Now, a lot of what we work on is on Maya. I know a lot of you are working on Blender. Always think about software as just like it's like a tool, like a brush. You know how to use a brush, but then you have to do it with a pen. It's a little bit different, but you kind of understand the principles, right? So just thinking of it like that. I know we're working on making sure things are going to be working with Blender, but that's something that'll come later. I don't want to say too much more, but the wait will be worth it. I'm excited anyway. So.
And that's what alpha
Oh.
is, Fred, right there. Nailed it. You know it.
Oh, great. I can hang out with the cool kids now.
You always were one.
Stop.
I just want to say on the Fortnite front that this man is a menace, because he hopped in and was supposed to be like critiquing the animation. Everyone's like, oh, leave Fred alone. So I run past him like, okay, I'm going to leave him alone. And this dude straight one taps me to the back of the dome and just completely wrecked me. And I was a little upset and almost.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. That was like the first time I played Fortnite. Even like I'm in the trailer. If you look at the trailer, I'm Megatron, and who was it again? Was it Lucas that was just hovering over me, trying to like get as close to my forehead as possible? Or is it Frank? I can't remember who it was. Anyway, you just see him hovering over Megatron as I'm like trying to scope out someone, and then bam, I died. So I'm the resource guy on our team. That was fun. I like collecting resources.
Lucas had my back on that one.
Oh my god, I got killed so many times, but I still had a blast. It was fun.
Yeah, lots of dirty movements, dirty gaming by some of these characters. Don't trust the team at all.
Careful.
I can tell you that for free. All right. Anybody else got anything else to add?
And feel free to reach out to me too. Like I'll answer when I can. Instagram, Twitter, whatever. And then if we want to do another session like this, just hit up Ferry and Cast, and then maybe we can turn it into a series if you want. Next time we could talk all about eyes, or I could. The one thing I'd love to do is just animate a live demo for you guys. I don't know how we would do it, but like you guys watch me animate, like literally, like something, and then you can see like, oh, why did you do that? And then it could be in something simple like a bouncing ball, which is how all animators usually start. But I might do something with a clone at some point and show you like, this is why you blink like this, and this is why you eye dart like that. So if you want that, let our host know.
Yes.
Okay, I'm done. No, I'm good. That's all I wanted to add.
Okay, well, thank you again so much, and thank you to our speakers also. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'm really looking forward to the next few episodes. Gosh, who's typing? Is that you, Fred?
What? Yeah, that's me typing. Oh, you can hear that? Oh, I'm a loud typer. I smash my keys. It's I don't know why. Like, even if it's a stylus keyboard, you can hear me type.
That was aggressive. I like it. All right, guys. Catch you if you're in LA. See you later tonight. If not, we'll catch you online. Love to all of you. See you next week. Goodbye.
See ya.
See you. Bye.
Andre, Cass, come on.
Next time on Smack Daddy.
I was waiting for Tokyo Drift to just send it.